G'day, hi and welcome. I know it's a little bit dark in here. Got the guitar, and yeah, I'm getting ready to go to my gig. I'll have to come back in for that stuff. So tonight's going to be a different night. Looks like we're going to have a different host, like always. Each week there's a different host, but it looks like we're going to have a different sound man, and the sound man is going to be a sound woman, who last time I saw her there, she was starting to do a set, and I wanted to stay, but I couldn't stay because, you know, being a weeknight, you got to turn into a pumpkin and stuff like that happens all the time. So I wasn't able to stay, and she looked like she was going to be really, really good. So I don't know if she'll be playing tonight, but she's going to be the sound woman tonight, I guess. And on top of that, so I got a new sound person tonight, but that's a little bit of a monkey wrench because there's something else going on tonight for me that hopefully everything goes out. Because you never know. I'm pretty sure her being a musician and that she's played there before shouldn't have any problems with the sound. But, you know, tonight what I'm doing, because I'm used to Greg, who's the sound man, you going in, Goof? You have a good night. You hold down the fort. Make sure everything's turned off before we go. But anyway, he's basically the sound dude that's always there, and that's fine and dandy and all. Stove's off. Everything's off. Oh, better. Yeah, poor girl. You'll be all alone for a little while. I know it's not very nice. You got food in your dish. You got water. You got everything. Okay. Now, see you guys when I get back. Internet's off. Sorry, I'm just. Cat secured, check. There's Gazoo. You hold down the fort, Gazoo, and don't make too much noise while you're here, too. He's been yelling at me all day. I don't know where the other little brat is, but anyway, long story short, it is about 5 to 7. Okay, bye, Goof. Yeah, it's just, tonight I'm going to be basically trying to get a gig. I don't know if it's a manager or the owner or whatever, but somebody named Lee. They said they would be working between, I forget what time and what time, but that, you know, for me to come and see them and stuff like that. And they might stay a little later, just to, you know, they're always getting new acts in there and stuff like that. But the whole thing is that, you know, I want to make sure I sound pretty good tonight. Obviously, because, you know, a gig is depending on it. So I'm pretty sure everything will go okay. You get 3 songs to impress people, and that's about it. So again, let's see if I can get my camera angles. Oh, look at that. Perfect. Solve the bad camera angle problem. Engage. All right. So what's going to go on also too is that tonight the host tonight is, I think, if it's who I think it is, it should be a very interesting night. But like I've been saying, it's always kind of one of those, you don't know what 3 songs you're going to do because you plan 3 songs to do, okay? And in that 3 songs, there's my other cat. Sitting there going, I'm going to stay out all night because you got the window open, and I'm not going to come in when you get home and make life easier for you. I'm going to stay out all night. That's what she's doing. That's what she's doing to me. Goodbye, girls. My cat, my dog. Matters ever getting dark early. But anyway, the thing is that what I was saying is that with 3 songs, okay, you might pick 3 great songs, which are, when you're thinking about it, you got the audience to yourself, you got 3 songs, and the songs are great, then everything's great. But then the person ahead of you either livens up the night or quietens down the night. Now, last week, it was very lively. I had to change my 3 songs like 4 times because it was just like, oh, nice sunset. But it was just like, hey, wait a minute, if I... you know, play those songs are going to be too mellow. Like for me, it was like, oh, these would be good, mediocre, middle of the road type songs, perfect for the jam night. But then it's like the guy ahead of me, he goes up, he's got pretty much the full band behind him, doing like 50s style rock, but a lot more lively, like, you know, twist and shout type stuff, right? So everybody's up dancing and stuff like that. So you got to keep the vibe of the night going. And then here I am like, okay, well, how do I keep it going? So I had to divert to some old classics, which went over well. People were, I don't know if anybody danced to, what did I do last night? I know I did, Copperhead Road and Headstones and a Led Zeppelin tune or whatever. And it was just kind of like, it caught me off guard because I was going to do something totally different, and I might try those tonight. So the songs I got picked tonight, I got a Damn Yankees song. That should be pretty fun. I got 6 songs to play around with here, and a little bit of a surprise if I do this little instrumental thing. Well, we'll see what the crowd is going to require, because that little instrumental thing, I don't know if I've got it down well enough yet to really pull it off. But if I do, it'll be pretty good anyway. But the thing is that, so I got 6 tunes that I'm going to try. I'm going to try a Journey tune. If the crowd is really uppity, The Calling, I got a ballad from them. And I kind of want to do a dance, kind of like too. I got, the Two Princes song there back from the 90s, with the Spin Doctors. Great tune that is usually going to get a good hurrah from the crowd. You'll have women up and dancing in front of you. Once you have women dancing in front of you, people drink beer and then sing along and whatever. It's a good way to kind of secure a gig, you know what I mean? Anyway, once you do that, then everything seems to go okay when you do that. But there's another angle of it that I got to look at. And that's that the Spin Doctor song, it's lively. Make him fall off his ladder. My friend's dad. All right, there we go. The other guy across the road is like going like this. He wants me to hit the horn. I love the horn on this thing. It's such a crowd pleaser, this thing. That's what I should take on stage, is the horn on this thing. It scare the crap out of everybody, but it'd be a good crowd pleaser. But anyway, so the Spin Doctors tune, I know no matter which way the night goes, it's kind of like, that one, I've never seen bad results from that song. Whether you play it acoustic with a full band, you don't always get people up and dancing. It depends. I mean, if the person ahead of me is extremely, extremely mellow, they might not be in the mood for that. You know what I mean? And that's what happens to you. So then you got to change it up. But I'm like, okay, well, I want to do 3 types of songs, a semi-danceable song like that. And I rearranged the order that I was doing too, because one thing that's strange is that you got to look at is that sometimes it's not the songs you pick, it's the order in which you play them. And I was like, okay, I was going to start off with the Damn Yankees tune, the Coming of Age tune, because that's a cool little tune, I like it. And most people tend to like it when I've played it. But sometimes, like tonight, I was like, okay, well, if I did do the Spin Doctors one last and do that one first, see how it goes. But then I did it the other way around. I practiced it the other way around. I was like, that's going to be a lot smoother. That'd be a hell of a lot smoother. Now, that said, do I do the Spin Doctors one any way you want it from Journey? That's if the crowd is really hyper. Either of those songs are good, but let's say the crowd's a lot more mellow. Well, then I'll start off with the Damn Yankee songs, do the Calling Wherever You Go song. I don't have all the lyrics down perfectly for it, but it doesn't really matter. It's I got the melodies there, so I don't really worry about too much of. Except some songs, you got to nail every word for word. With songs like that, most people they're going to know the melody. They don't really know the lyrics. They're not going to sing along. But by luck, everybody's going to be a Calling fan, and it's like they're singing along, and I got the words half screwed up or whatever. They're like, what's this guy doing? He's botching the song. Like when I did More Than Words, there was people singing along with it a little bit. Had I had the whole night to myself, that song would have done a lot more. That was cool to have people singing along a little bit. I didn't botch the song, but I had a few little mishaps in the song, but I think I covered it fairly well. It was just a little bit rough. Tonight, everything I'm playing is not going to be rough because it's stuff I've been playing for a long time. So it's kind of new in the sense that I haven't played it in front of anybody in a long time, but I've been practicing playing these songs for a long I've known them for years, pretty much since they've come out. So it's like, okay, so tonight there's not much I can do there, but there's another song that I know I did years ago in front of people from Filter, Take a Picture. That one's a hit and miss one. It's a really good song, but it could bring the night down too much, right? But if the person before me is really mellow, then yeah, I can get away with it, and I could put a little, chimey little instrumental melody kind of thing in it with a drop D. That's kind of or open D tuning or drop D tuning. That sounds really cool, and I know that one usually goes over well if the crowd is not too hyper. If the crowd's really hyper, well then I'll substitute that with either the Journey song or the whatever. But anyway, I got 6 songs to really pick from tonight that I've did in anticipation of the night being either hyper or mellow. Now that said, considering the guy that's hosting tonight is going to be playing accordion. I think if it's the same guy as him and his wife, they were playing accordion a couple of weeks ago. That's going to be a totally different dynamic that, it will be, I could follow it with any one of these songs, no problem, but I won't be the first one up. The thing is that the guy, Intergalactic Space Hippie, showed up last week, and I think I heard him say he was coming again this week. With the new host, or the new sound tech, they're filling in for Greg. Greg has no problem telling this guy, okay, that's it. You're on 20 minutes now. You're only allowed 15. Come on, get off the stage. He has no problem doing that. So we'll see if she's got the fortitude to kick Intergalactic Space Hippie off the stage if he goes on a little too long. Nice guy, just he's a little bit burnt out. You know what I mean? He just he's a hippie, right? He's like he writes these songs and reads them as he sings them. It's kind of it's comical, but it's like, okay, 20 minutes after 20 minutes is no longer comical. The problem is if he goes up before you, he clears the room on you, and then you got to try to draw the crowd back, which at that point a lot of people just call it a night. You know what I mean? It's a weeknight, so it's like, well, if it's really good, I'll stay for one more. Oh well, this guy's okay. Well, it's a good time to leave. And that's twice he's kind of done that to me, not on purpose. Like, I'm not trashing, but that's something that happens, right? That's a problem when you play midweek. It's like But tonight, my real goal is to impress the person that is going to do the hiring for the show. The other thing is that my dad's gone moose hunting, so guess what? I got the house to myself. I don't have to rush off like a pumpkin tonight. I can actually stay till the end of the night. If I want, I probably won't, but we'll see how it goes. Maybe I will. I would like to stay and socialize a little bit more, for sure. And it always happens too. Like as soon as I'm getting ready to go, the person right after me is somebody. Oh, hey, they'd be really nice to sit and listen to as well. But we'll see. But tonight the nice thing is I don't have to rush back home. Or whatever. It's just okay. Go play. Sit and listen, socialize, whatever. Don't have to worry about waking anybody up or anything like that. So that's kind of good too. The only thing is that when I get home, I got to feed the dog and all that. But I got the window open, so the dog's fine. Now, should this happen in the wintertime, usually my dad's going to be home, but let's say my dad goes somewhere for a week during the wintertime, it'll be a little bit trickier, stuffing the dog in the house at like 7 o'clock and not being able to get out till about 1 or 2 in the morning. So I got to watch out for stuff like that because I can't leave the window open in the winter. The window will freeze open, and plus the house would just freeze up. So I can't do that. But tonight I can get away with it. So it's going to be an interesting night no matter which way it goes. I'm looking forward to it. I think I'll get the gig. You never know. The guy might say, well, you're a great player and all that, but we tend to like a different kind of music for this establishment. You're not really the right type for that happens too. And if it does, it does. But then I'm going to have to, I'm already in I got to start looking for new places to play anyway. I like this one because it's the closest one to me, but, and the PA's there and everything there, but there's also, at some point I'm going to be if I don't get a gig soon, it does cost me money to, run back and forth. I don't spend a lot of money when I'm there. I'm too poor to spend too much money right now, but, and it's something that, I'm going to have to start getting ahead of it, you know. And the only way that's going to happen is if I can, you know, get paid a little bit to do these things. And it's not all about the money, but you need to be able to sustain it, right? It's like everything. You need to be able to sustain it, and unfortunately that takes money. So what kind of money would I make? I don't know. It will really depend on a few things, such as, you know, whether I have to sell tickets, which I don't like that idea at all because I'm not well enough known. And number two is cover at the door, which I'm okay with that, but I got to watch how much you. Mercedes for sale, cool, 2-door. Should check that out. I hate driving by things that I want when I have no money. Isn't that anybody though? But the thing is that yeah, it's like if it can get to a point where, hey, you know what? Here's something great. You go, you charge $2 a night, 70 people show up throughout the night. Well, you just made yourself $140. You know what I mean? At $2 each. That's not too bad. That's a good night's work. Let's say 30 people show up. Well, you still make about $60. At least you cover your gas there and back, and maybe you know, a meal or whatever. It doesn't. You zero out. You know what I mean? And zeroing out is okay too. But it's nice to make a bit of a profit, because if I were to make, say, $100 to $120, well, number one, I got to put new strings on the darn guitar. I did break an E string this week on that guitar, but you got to understand how old those strings are. I'm like, it lasted that long, so I really can't complain. I think I got an electric E on there, or maybe it's a B string. I don't know what it is. It was just kind of, it was sitting in the G string spares, but I was like, oh, that's, you know, that's definitely, it was a string that I used off of something else, and I just kept it. I tend to do that until I get a couple of packs of strings ahead. I always have like one pack of strings that I just pick out of, but usually you always end up breaking the same strings all the time, like an E, a B, or something like that. But sometimes I break D strings too. I don't know why. It's like on the guitar, on my electrics, it's always a G or an E that I break for some reason when I do break strings, and that happens. That happens while you're playing live too. You know, especially on really old strings, sometimes it's not that you broke them, it's they rotted through. Like, you think I'm joking, but no, that's part of doing business, you know what I mean? And tonight, like I say, if I can impress the bar owner, playing-wise, I don't think the playing is going to be the issue for me. Sound quality, I don't even think that's going to be as much of an issue as I think, because I've kind of got that mic dialed in of how, you know, where the dynamics are on that mic, and stuff like that. And also, that PA is loud enough. It's not the volume. It's just as long as I sing where I'm supposed to sing, distance from the mic wise, I can get an okay sound out of it. The problem is, as long as my guitar's not so loud that I drown myself out. So, you know, I'll take a little bit more time to set up. By a little more time, I mean like an extra 30 seconds. Like, really, you're on there, you're sound checked in under a minute. You know what I mean? Like, it's go on. Is this good? Yeah, okay, go. You know, it's kind of like that, because I mean, you don't have the whole night here. You don't have the whole stage to yourself. So you got to make do with what you got. So as long as the mids aren't so high on the guitar with this pickup, I'm not too worried about that. As long as the guitar's perfectly in tune, as long as I do my job, I know how to do my job, everything should go really well. You know, then it's just a question of the person before me, did they prep the crowd well enough for me? Because one thing I will say there, whoever goes after me, except for the guy last week, I kind of shot him in the foot a bit, because he was doing all original stuff, which sounded like it was going to be really good stuff too, but I had to leave. But what it was is that his original stuff was very mellow, and I was coming off the, you know, basically the hyper stuff, that it's like, okay, well, I had to change my set because the guy ahead of me brought the evening up so much. But mind you, he was really good. He would have been better after us. It would have been better that the guy behind, it would have been better for the guy before me to, you know, go ahead of me. You know, the guy after me, he would have been better to be ahead of me, and I would have been better to be ahead of the other guy to prep, you know, just to keep with the theme of gradually getting louder and more rock and rollish and whatever. Whereas it can go the other way tonight, where it's like, okay, well, next thing you know, we could have a night full of folk singers. You know what I mean? Then where do I fit in, right? It just is what it is. And that's what you got with the jam nights when you're trying to get a gig and there's other people there, is that if you break the mold a little bit too much, you might drop the ball. You know what I mean? I don't think so. I think, the way it works with a lot of these places is they hear so many different varieties and stuff that tonight every night I've played, I'm usually the heaviest guy there. With the exception of the last past maybe 2 or 3 weeks, where Greg has been going up with that awesome Telecaster of his. There's a guy who goes up and plays a drum and whatever. They actually had a drum set there, not just a snare and a hi-hat, but they had like a 5-piece there last night or last time, drum set, and that really changes the dynamic of the room sound-wise, because now you got there's no holes in anything. You got a full band in there. And it was like basically 3 full bands in a row, 4-piece, 5-piece, whatever it was, that were going up one after another. And then, of course, the guy after, just before me, was really, really hyper, really good, got everybody up and dancing. And that's the thing, like you get people up and dancing, it's a tough act to follow. I found it was a tough act to follow because my songs, I wasn't prepared for songs that could keep people dancing, although I'm pretty sure if I would have thought about it a bit more, this would have been better, this would have been a better tune to go with rather than this one. But did I do well? Yeah, of course I did well. People were like, oh wow, woo, yeah, it was they were still shaking their heads to it, you know what I mean? They were having a good time. They just they weren't really. I'm sure you could get people dancing if you played those songs a little later in the night, if you had the whole night to yourself. Yeah, whatever. But I did the songs that I normally start sets with that were, hyper, but not, Two Princes is going to get people dancing, most likely. I mean, if I have to bet on it, I could be wrong. It might be a song that it's outdated enough now, and the crowd could be just in that age gap range where it's either something too new for them or something too old for them. You know what I mean? So if you got 20-somethings in there, they probably never heard that song before. For somebody in their 50s, they may not have ever heard that song before. You know what I mean? But the cool thing is that, when I was a teenager or whatever, all the 40-year-old music that would appeal to 40-year-olds was like Waylon Jennings, Johnny Cash, stuff like that. And I do got some Johnny Cash and stuff like that I can pull out, but I don't want to do that if that's what everybody else is doing. Maybe not, even if they're not doing Johnny Cash. But if you know that somebody's kind of more of a master in that genre, you want to take it somewhere, give somebody something new, so that it doesn't just look like you're just trying to. You want to stand out, is what I'm saying. But you don't want to stand out so much that you just completely throw off the evening. I've been talking about this the last few videos. I don't know how many of you watch these videos, but I think they're interesting, interesting take on the night. Whatever. But I do think tonight it's going to be more of a rock atmosphere from me. It's just I don't know who's going to be ahead of me. Now, if I have Tie-Dye Space, Intergalactic Space Hippie ahead of me, well, it's going to, I'm going to be playing to an empty crowd again, you know what I mean? So, yeah, it's kind of like one of those things that as soon as I get there, I put my name on the list. I usually go for the number 3 or number 5 spot. Tonight I might go a little bit earlier just due to the fact that, that guy is going to be playing, or maybe it's a girl, I don't know, that's going to be, working from, getting off around 9 or 10 o'clock. I don't want to hold those people up. I want to be as respectful as possible. So maybe going on as soon as possible. It doesn't matter for me, really. It's just I usually like to give a couple other people a chance to go, because I know a lot of time with these jam nights, everybody goes up and plays ballads. Now, that said, yes, I will be playing a pretty good ballad tonight. I think it's going to come out really good. I could see people up and dancing to that one nice and slow, just to give variation of what I'm going to do. But again, even so, you really don't want to change the dynamic too much, or you lose everybody, and including the people that might be hiring you on for the gig. So my goal is to impress with my abilities that I got or don't have, whatever, just, whatever, but that they enjoy it enough that they say, okay, well, I can see this guy playing 3 hours in our establishment, getting the crowd going. He did this, and then, wow, he goes to that, so he's got versatility. It's not just going to be the same song one after another, which can tend to happen. And again, one nice thing about jam nights is this is how you find out what works with the crowd and what doesn't. Like, Wanted Dead or Alive, I added it back to my roster. I was like, I hadn't played that song on stage in literally decades. And I just kind of rough cutted it one night, just threw it out there as a fourth song. Tonight I will be stuck with 3 songs because, well, maybe not. It's hard. It depends. Maybe this girl's going to be a real sweetheart of a sound person. Say, yeah, go ahead, do another one. One more song. Now, Greg, I got to know him over the past couple of weeks as the sound man. It's like, do you mind if I do one more? He's like, yeah, just make it quick, you know. And he doesn't mind because my songs are usually really quick. But I'm never on there more than 15 minutes anyway, right? But if I do take a picture, I will be on there more than 15 minutes. So that's kind of like a song that you end the night with, right? Or you end your triple set with. So I'm going with the idea that I'm only going to play 3 songs tonight, which the less you play, the harder it gets, because then it's like you can only pick, so you only get 3 to pick, right? But it's also part of the challenge. But it's also, too, like I say, you make mental notes of it. So you'd say, Reg, well, why not just play the songs that resonated with the crowd really well? Well, then how do you discover new songs, eh? One thing that Greg said to me last time, the sound man, he goes, man, he says, you got a hell of a repertoire of songs. You know, like, you never play the same song twice, except for one song I did twice, which was Pipeline. But again, I threw that out there last week as a fourth thing, because I want to do a bit of an instrumental in every time I jam. So, you know, I get to showboat a little bit, right? But the thing is like, I'm like, well, what do I do? Okay, well, I'll throw in Pipeline. It's the second time. And it went over well. It was just but to keep the vibe going in the room. And then the poor guy after me, I was that much more hyper than he was, so it made it hard for him. You know, there's so many people on the road tonight that I'm just like flicking for the sake of flicking here. Flicking my eye beams for nothing. But the thing is that you got this situation where you got all these people that... are going to be playing different things. So I never really worry about the person behind me as much. If I can set the night up for them, you know, you're welcome. If I kind of take from their night and they have to change the entire pace, like I could tell the guy that went up after me I don't think he was nervous because he didn't know how to play what he was playing. I think he was nervous because the 2 acts ahead of him were much more hyper. And, you know, especially the act ahead of me last week was yelling, one more song, you know? And you can't take that personally. You really can't. When people enjoy themselves, just try to keep the mood going. And if you can't keep the mood going, it's a jam night. Go and do your thing. Play it the best you can. Doesn't matter what you play. Rock, blues, jazz, metal, bluegrass, hip-hop, I don't care what you're playing. Classical, you know, it doesn't matter. Folk. Whatever you play, just play it to the best of your ability. I talked about that kind of... now, mind you, the thing I got to start working on is really cleaning up my act live. Meaning, it's not that I can't nail it. It's that I get a little bit lazy sometimes. And I've been getting better. Like the first jam night, I was very sloppy. I got to admit that. Because I usually always give it a given that the first 3 or 4 songs of the night that I play, I'll be a little bit loose on them, whatever. Okay, miss a fret chords or whatever. I got to stop doing that. I got to step up my game. Because the people that... The thing is that regardless of the styles of music, the people that are going on stage are playing flawlessly. So I'm like, okay, well, I can't take that for granted anymore that... you know, I'm in a bar that's full of musicians, maybe not just musicians, but you get the idea where when you're playing in front of non-musicians, you can get away with a lot more sloppiness. But right now, I can't do that anymore because I got, you know, everybody's bringing their A game, and I'm like, well, you know, it's not that I'm not capable. When I'm sloppy or whatever, and I mean, yes, no matter who you are, I don't care how professional of a band you are, everybody misses it from time to time. You take like Billy Sheehan and Paul Gilbert, when they do the Addicted to That Rush. One guy messes up, the whole song falls apart. You know what I mean? And these guys, yes, they know their stuff, but they got to put their A game on there 100% of the time. There's no room for sloppiness, whatever, or it just all falls apart. I just using them as an example. So these guys, like even Billy Sheehan was saying, he goes, it's really tough because it's a one-shot wonder every time. That's one thing about, you know, when you do like like I play in a TV studio, an acoustic live, you might get to do the song 10 times in a row, with a crowd there, whatever. You might get that. But live, you get one shot at it. And that's really what separates the professionals from the amateurs, is how they do on that one shot, right? And factor in nervousness, new to a crowd. It will take you probably 10, 15 times on stage to lose that kind of antsiness that you sometimes get. It will definitely go away when you get the whole night to yourself. I'll tell you that right now. But arrogance and ego also sometimes appear in place of it when you start to take things for granted, such as when you walk into a place, and this happens at some jam nights where you go where everybody's an amateur. Absolutely everybody's an amateur in there. So you come off as if you're 10 times better than you are, and you tend to get a false sense of confidence. Watch out for that. Myself, I don't have a very big ego on that. I tend to be a show-off. Yeah, I tend to overdo it and take it to ridiculousness sometimes, and I lose my place. And I got to watch out for that. That's what I'm talking about with my sloppiness, where I got to start cutting into something, and then I go over here, and then go over there, and then it's like, okay, well, what was I doing? I kind of lost my spot, and then it falls apart, and then it's like, then it just comes out as a hack. You know what I mean? And that's only because, I get ahead of myself trying to show off, right? And yeah, sometimes less is more. Keep that in mind. Sometimes less is more. Don't try to overdo it. Don't try to be overly impressive. Dial it back a bit. I know, again, it's the problem you get when you only have 3 songs to do to make an impression. Just perfect what you're doing. Don't worry so much about, getting everything all in one song. You just can't do it. You know what I mean? And that's okay. That is okay to not be able to get everything into one song. I don't mind that. That's what other songs are for. That's what other jam nights are for. That's why I say keep trying different things, different jam nights. Don't just keep playing the same 3 songs over and over. Yes, you'll perfect these songs. You'll know how to work the crowd and stuff like that, but you won't learn anything. Try stuff that challenges you, but make sure you're ready to showcase it when you challenge yourself. I pulled out the More Than Words song about a week too early, but I was so stoked to do it. But I know the next time I do it live, because I played it this week and a couple of times just to go through it. I did my full in anticipation of getting a gig, my full 3-hour set twice this week. Considering I have the whole house to myself, it's like, okay, well, normally what I'll do is I'll do a set a day, but no, I did like 2 3-hour days in a row where I just played 3 hours straight with the proverbial 15-minute break in between. Sometimes you play for an hour, sometimes you play for 45 minutes. It really depends how the establishment wants you to put out the night. Personally, I'd rather just do 1 hour and a half long sets. That works for me too. I don't know. I could play 3 hours in a row, but I might have to stop and take a pee break at some point. But other than that, I don't really care. I'll play 3 hours solid. The 3 hours goes by really quick. The other thing too is getting your timing so that you're not playing so fast. This has taken me a couple of weeks to kind of slow it down a bit. And even at that, when I listened to the footage, I was like, I'm still playing too fast. We always play too fast live for some reason. I don't know. It seems like the song holds together at a more higher tempo, but it makes it, you get less breathing room. So finding that right balance between, the right tempo, you got to practice that a bit. But that comes as you get more calm. I don't really get nervous on stage. I haven't been nervous on stage since my first 15 or 20 gigs way back when I was a teenager. I know my job. I know what I'm doing. The only thing that throws me off is, what the hell's that guy doing? Here's a guy waiting on the side of the road, doesn't realize his bucket full of hay is, or manure's halfway out on the road. Yeah, you better watch that, buddy. Tractor. No lights on. That could have been bad. The guy behind me doesn't whack into him. But you get in anyway. So tonight's going to be an interesting night. It's going to be a fun night no matter what. I have fun no matter what I do. Tonight, I think the pace is going to be really good. If I can get 4 songs in there, that'd be great. But I'm anticipating 3. It's just which 3 will it be? You know, my goal tonight again is to get a paying gig. Even if it's even if it's not a very big paying gig, it's just to get back into it. You know what I mean? The other goal tonight is just to expand the perfection of playing a little bit better. Hopefully that I don't miss anything or whatever. Really clean up my sloppiness. I'm going to try my best to do that tonight. Because I know even last week I was pretty good, but I did get a little bit sloppy and kind of lost my place a few times, getting a little too hyper, trying to add in too much into a song that, we're putting things where they shouldn't be, you know what I mean? Trying to get too funky when, you can only take it so far. So yeah, there's that. So I'm going to try to limit that tonight. So it's like, okay, well, hey, once I get going on this, hey, I can take it this direction, this direction, this direction. I mean, that's fine. You're experimenting and stuff like that. I have no problem doing that. But sometimes it burns you. And, it's lessons that I learned years ago about stuff like that. Less is more sometimes. Again, don't try to fit in too much into one song because you'll just lose the crowd, you know what I mean? And you lose yourself of, now, it's like I got myself into this, oh, this is good. Okay, now I got myself into this, oh, this is even better. Then I got myself into this and I've set myself up for this. And then, okay, where do I go from here? Like, song's got to end somewhere, right? So next thing you know, you got this kind of like, train wreck of a finish to the song, but like, where the hell do you end it? It's like, okay, you've taken it too many directions. So I got to watch out for that. And tonight, I think the songs I'm picking will be, easy to keep that one under wraps. But also, too, it's really a question of, can I do a good enough job so that the person that's doing the hiring for that night, I mean, who knows? It could be November, December before. It could be 6 months from now. But I don't really care when the gig is. I just want the gig. You know what I mean? And this is a great place to play equipment-wise. They have their own PA. They have, maybe even get your own sound man that night. That's nice. But I'm pretty sure the staff will probably fix everything up for you anyway. Once you get there, it's like, okay, well, this is how you turn it on. This is how it works. I'm pretty familiar with how PAs work and stuff like that. If there's a few other power things, they'll usually turn the system on for you. They'll let you play around with it, whatever. As long as you don't go too crazy with the PA, and you realize that you have to start from a center point on a PA, not the extreme top end or the low end of a PA, you can usually get a decent sound right from the center. Meaning all the controls are in the center, and the volume you just bring it up. Once you get the sound you want, then you bring up the volume. Then you trim off a little bit of bass. You trim off a little bit of mid, or maybe bring up the mid a bit or whatever. But you work from the center so that like a lot of guys, what they'll do is they'll put the volume down really low, and they'll just crank the bass full, the tone full, put the mid somewhere full or in the middle, and then whenever they got to bring up the volume, they're getting all kinds of squealing. They have no room for adjustment. So I've learned that with PAs, you start in the middle is usually the easiest. That way you have as much. You can always take. It's easier to take stuff off than it is to put stuff on sound wise, if that makes sense to you. Especially for people that want to do more more mids on some stuff. Like some of my stuff requires pretty high mids to get the harmonics I want. Some stuff, guitar speaking. Some stuff, if there's too much mids, it'll cut over my voice to the point where I tend to have a low mid voice to begin with. So I could scream and yell in the mic, and if the mids are too high, no matter how loud I yell or how loud the mic is, you simply will not hear me. So a lot of times I have to just hug the center of the mids for my guitar so that it doesn't overpower me. I tend to play a lot louder when I sing. A lot of people do that, and I've had people tell me that over the years. Like, Regis, you play a good volume, but as soon as you start singing, you sing louder, but then you play louder. It's your body, your hearing is going to try to balance you out. But what the problem is, if the mids are too high, then you just drown yourself out. So you think you're singing just fine, and everybody's like, I can't hear you. It's like you need to bring the vocals up or get on the mic a little bit more. I don't like being right on the mic because you tend to peak the mic, especially at higher volumes. So dialing back the bass, dialing back the mids and stuff like that, yeah, it kills a bit of the tone of the guitar a bit, and a bit of the drive of the guitar, but it doesn't. You can give it a little bit more, with the picking angle of it, and not have to worry about just being overpowered all the time. Then it makes it easier for you to sing along. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. We're going to see tonight, probably some really good musicians like we normally see. But probably also tonight, I really, really want to bring my A game on, these songs, even if they're simple songs. It's not that these songs are so complicated or whatever, but the goal is to play them as clean as possible and as balanced as possible, best timing as possible. Holy geez, that guy's like 10 feet behind the other guy. It's like this guy behind me. Oh, I got to be 30 feet from your bumper, dude. Yeah, we're on a highway that's 250 miles long, or about 400 kilometers long, but the guy's got to be like 10 feet behind my bumper. Like, what? It's like, I might not get there in time. Oh, jeez. Yeah, everybody's always in a rush. But anyway, tonight's going to be a good night. I like the idea that I can stay a little bit later tonight. I don't know how late I'll stay out because, you get home, the jamming, you got to understand what that does for me spiritually. Now, I don't go on stage, holy geez, dude, back it off a bit. I guess the speed limit isn't fast enough for some people. But I guess, for some people, they don't understand. Like, when I go on stage, I'm bone sober. Not because I don't drink beer and that, but it's, I don't drink and drive, so no, that is a dangerous enough highway. But also that, I want to, the high I get is off the instrument and playing and the crowd. I love it when people tell me, oh, wow, you're good, like, wow, that was really enjoyable. Oh, wow, thanks for going up. Oh, you coming back next week? I like that stuff, you know what I mean? It makes you feel good about yourself. Which is great. And it's great to share it, because it's like, oh man, you made my night because I haven't heard that song in years, and it just put me in such a good mood. And you allowed somebody to forget their problems for 3 songs. That's kind of cool too. That's why I do it. It's the enjoyability about it. I mean, it's not even really the songs that I play. I mean, yeah, it's fun to pick fun songs and all that, but a lot of it has to do with that I know if I can get this out of the crowd, tomorrow morning those people are going to have a good day at work no matter how bad their day is at work because, like they had such a great night, And that's kind of what I'm after is giving people an experience that they can really, really, really enjoy. Holy jeez, buddy. Don't even wait till the passing line. Some people are in such hurries. And he's going to get there, literally, 40 seconds. He's going to get to the light, that traffic light, 40 seconds before me. He's going to get there 40 seconds before me. It's ridiculous. Anyway, that's people don't know how to drive, It's like, but anyway, it's like, I'm looking forward to tonight. I'm looking forward to hopefully that the sound lady goes up because I want to hear her set because I heard her play it like on YouTube and stuff like that. The Cafe 1870 stuff. That's really good, but it's not the same as being there. Like I know my GoPro doesn't capture the show. Like it does okay. I mean it does okay, but even if I had $1 million microphone on that thing, you guys. Music isn't meant to be experienced live, not through screens and stuff like that. But if you can't make it out, at least we could share this with you. You know what I mean? One thing I will say too is that I've yet to be featured on the Cafe 1870 live, the live performance Facebook page. I think that's kind of like you got to kind of be in with the in crowd a bit before you get the approval for that. But that takes time, and I'm okay with that. Like, I don't, why are they not putting me on there? I did so good, blah, 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 blah. Again, my ego's not that big, so. I don't really care. As long as the people in front of me are happy, I'm happy with that. If I can get a gig out of it, great. If I don't, well, it'll be time to move on to another place. Doesn't mean I'll never play a bar there, that bar again, but I'm going to have to start finding a new venue. Now, I know there's a whole plethora of places to play. Problem is it's $40 a gas to $60 a gas. Well, maybe not 60, but at least $40 a gas every time you go, and that's in Ottawa. So I'm about halfway to Ottawa, not quite, maybe a little more, maybe 2/3 of the way. That's why I like this place. But what I would really like to do is start to meet up with like that bass player last week. That's a guy I would love to do a show with live, 6-string bass player. Now, mind you, I don't know what all style, like some of these guys, when they play these places, they're like, oh, well, they play jazz, and they play blues, and they play R&B, and they play folk, and whatever. But then they're massive metalheads when they're playing at the other place. I really want to meet up with some metalhead. Maybe not like, I'm not talking death metal or anything like that, but like, 90s, 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s rock metal, and of course, whatever's current. Top 40 stuff, like, AC/DC, Kiss, Mr. Big, Extreme. I'm really kind of rediscovering Mr. Big and Extreme for some reason. But stuff like that, Motley Crue, all that stuff, Van Halen, all those old classic stuff. But the problem we get with those things is that most of the time the songs everybody picks are so overplayed that everybody is so sick of these songs that it's just, you're a dime a dozen, you know what I mean? And, holy jeez, dude, take those brights down. God. There must be a magnet on my bumper or something. It's like, holy jeez. And I'm already speeding. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, jeez. What is with these people? Everybody on a rush. It's a Wednesday night. What are you in such a freaking rush for? You know what I mean? But anyway. But, so it's like, I definitely got to start meeting up with some real musicians. Now, the Blind Pig Patrons, what happened with them last year? My buddy Jason and stuff like that. The other guys that I was jamming with. I haven't called Jason. I told him I was homing in on a new vehicle, a method of traveling. We won't say a new vehicle. This thing's 1999 with 250,000 miles on it, or 430,000 kilometers on it. Basically, this vehicle has went around the planet literally 10 times, mileage-wise, the equator of the planet. So, I got to jam with those guys again. But those guys, strangely enough, they did a little gig with the singer there. I keep forgetting her name. But anyway, they got a whole set list down with them. That sometimes if they get paid, they'll go out. But they're really good musicians. They're not phenomenal musicians in the sense that, they've been touring and everything like that. But they're good musicians, definitely good enough for me, and I'm good enough for them. And all that, and whatever. And they got the set list and stuff like that. I'd have to learn their stuff a little bit more, what they're doing. But the thing is that it's really hard to get them out of the garage. The reason being is that, moving equipment around, stuff like that. Jason and I were talking about it, and it was like, he goes, well, it's like $80 a gas to use the truck to go anywhere for like, a $300 night. I mean, none of us are going to make any money. You know what I mean? I don't mind, like, I think what happened is, and this can happen in bands. So you got one person with a vehicle goes around, picks up everybody all the time, and then nobody ever chips in for gas. And then next thing you know, it's like, well, I'm not doing this. It's cost me like $100 a week just to jam with you guys, right? So I understand that angle of it, that, it needs to be financed. And these guys, they work regular jobs for a living, too. I mean, I semi-work a regular job for a living. Semi don't, right? But the meat and potatoes is that for them to move all that equipment, you got to make a little bit of money doing this. And it is very hard to make money doing this. You really got to hustle. You really got to treat it like a business. And you got to start somewhere, and you're going to learn a lot of things. I mean, I haven't booked a gig in a long time. There's a couple of ways you can do it. I mean, obviously, if you have CDs and stuff like that, or whatever, building up the YouTube thing is probably a good idea, just as a demo. Because like this guy kept asking me, he goes, "Is there anything that, like a video or something, you could show me just to see what you got?" You know? Because again, I understand. Like, I mean, people don't want to be stuck with like booking a gig for somebody who's just not going to fit the venue. You know what I mean? And that is very important too, because like you could book people that are going to be really, really horrible, and that can lose you business. You know, you got to look at it from their point of view too. Yeah, you're going up, you're having fun, but like, for example, if Intergalactic Space Hippie got a gig there, he'd clear the bar in the first 2 songs. You know what I mean? And then everybody go home, and then, they'd have to close the bar down early that night, because the guy's not very good. Like, I mean, he's not a bad guy. He's never going to be a good musician, good enough to play. Now, that said, maybe, again, I might not be a high enough standard for this place, too. I don't think that's going to be the case, but you never know. Like, I mean, they do get some pretty professional sounding people in there. And it's not really even the style of music. It's the idea that the people that are play their stuff so well. This is why I got to be on my my AAA game tonight. I mean, I got to really pull it out of the hat tonight in 3 songs to have this person say, yeah, that's the way to get it done, and really enjoy it. So it's not even really the songs, it's going to be how I play them, how I work with the crowd. Yeah, bicycle guy right in the center of the road. Are you stupid? Dude, what are you doing? Get off the road. Got a blind corner here, buddy. There's a nice sidewalk right there for you to use, and you're not using it. I can't pass you on a blind corner. Like, use the sidewalk. Good way to get yourself killed. Lucky I saw him. He's doing 20 though. That's pretty impressive. Hey, get on the freaking sidewalk, buddy. Let me go by. What are you doing? Oop. There you go. Yeah, right when I have a car coming right at me. Not sure, but I think that's the host for tonight. I was like, what? Get on the freaking... What are you doing? You're going to get everybody killed. I think that's the host. The face looks familiar. It might be. We'll find out. It's an S-bend there, and it's a completely blind corner. And you don't want to be in the... Because you have to give... in Quebec, you have to give 1.6 meters of distance, meaning you got to pretty much be halfway onto the other lane, oncoming lane, for bicycles and stuff like that. But I mean, he's got a whole sidewalk there. He should have used that. That's dangerous. I'm not going to pass people on a blind corner. That's how you get dead. Anyway, I mean, I know this video has been kind of a bit strange of griping and whining about traffic and bad drivers and stuff, and talking about musician stuff. So this is going to be an interesting night no matter which way we go. Oh yeah. What's that? There we go. Sure. Whoops, sorry. Next parking lot. This parking lot is a strange parking lot to get into. It's all one way. Ah, I got my first parking spot right here. Look at that. I'm like royalty. Oh, jeez. Or not. You better not, don't know what the hell I was on there. Okay, maybe I won't go there. I thought I had room. Oh, there's a tree stump. I just climbed the tree stump. Nice. Nobody told me there was a tree stump there. Nobody told me there was... That's why nobody parks there. It's like, why am I on a 45-degree angle here? Like, there was a tree stump there, that's why. Oops. Oh, I'll go right beside, warning. Falling snow on risk. Okay, I don't think there's going to be any snow, but... Okay, I'm not worried about that. As long as it's not employee parking. Idle free zone. I just want to make sure it's not employee parking here. Go right here. Yeah, in a funky little parking lot here. It's kind of like... what do you got? I don't see anything that says I can't park here, so... Okay, well, we'll go with that. Alright, so anyway, I'm here. Wish me luck.